Let's get that convo underway. Shiv, how we doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're doing
Driving,
well.
baby.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
I was watching the discussion that you were having about all the laws passing and stuff. I don't know if you know this about me. I used to run compliance engineering for Coinbase.
Okay.
So all the ton of bricks that would first fall on the executive team, and then the product team, and then the engineering team, and all of us are just like, so what do I do? Like, and the answer is, I don't know, do all of it, be ready for anything and everything. I'm like, that's not how engineering works. Gotta give me a direction here, guys. And that was a tough time. I'm glad everyone's trying to get their act together. It's like you said, it's day one, which is actually an Amazon term, another former employer of mine. It's always day one at Amazon, is the saying. But it's good. Like all of these things, they bode well for us as an industry overall.
That's great. Is it day one at Boundless or is it day zero?
It's day one. It is
It's day
definitely
one.
day
Let's go.
one. It's absolutely like electric. I know it's Friday, and all of us are looking forward to taking a nap. Finally on Saturday, we've been working all hours, firing all cylinders, going to mainnet beta, getting so many partners on board. I mean, there's this army saying, right? Like amateur stock tactics and expert stock logistics. The logistics of getting like 15, 20, partners like Eigenlayer, like Linear, Wormhole, Nethermind, Base, like all these guys to like coordinate. It's just, hats off to the team. I just sat here in Seattle, just like typing my keyboard and like doing reviews and stuff.
That's great. So, Shiv, you're the CEO of Boundless, which is a universal zero knowledge protocol that brings unlimited computation and seamless interoperability to any chain without compromising its own security. So, excited to just go to the ZK school for the next 15 minutes here. But I think to start off, can you just expand a bit on like exactly why what you're building is needed and what's actually unlocked by Boundless?
Yeah. So let's take a step back, like zero knowledge itself, right? The promise of zero knowledge has been around for like a few years. A lot of people have been, zero knowledge has this curse of always being early. But in reality, it's been around for like 30 years, being studied in universities. It actually has applications in military and high-end finance as well. When you're moving like billions of dollars, you want a lot of, and people were willing to write circuits to do zero knowledge cryptography. That's how it was actually represented. Not computer code. I mean, it is code, but it's like you have to write very low level language stuff, which 200 people could write and another 200 could audit. So a very small industry within an industry that used to exist. Once blockchain started taking off, especially in the Ethereum space, Polygon in particular, they started realizing that zero knowledge has like another distinct property. It's called succinctness, which means it doesn't matter how big a computation you do, the size of the proof is always tiny. So maybe you proved that some trillion digit number is a prime number, or you proved 7 is a prime number. It doesn't really matter. The proof size is the same. That sparked this interest in, wait, I can represent unbounded or boundless computation on chain with a small proof. And then, the arms race started. Polygon famously spent like hundreds of millions of dollars acquiring every ZK engineer they could find. They just hired the lot. They all got together for like a couple of years and wrote one ZK circuit, the ZK EVM circuit that proves Ethereum state. But that's because it was very, very hard to implement. Writing such a complicated circuit is a lot of work. Imagine I made you write a circuit to represent a chessboard. It just blow your mind. How many combinations are there? But what Jeremy did, our co-founder of Risk Zero, is try to get his friends interested in writing ZK circuits. And Jeremy is, of course, famous. He never went to college. He taught himself all the math in the world, did multiple startups, had a previous startup, sold it to Intel and all that. And what he was looking for was the next big idea. Famously, there's lore that he was sitting in his bathtub reading papers. I don't know if it's true, but I'd like to imagine. Well,
We like
I
a
don't
good
want to
path.
imagine it, but like I do think it's a nice story there. But his friends were absolutely amazing developers, and one of them is the CTO of the company. Was like, I'm not writing circuits. What are you, insane? That just takes me 20 years back in my learning journey. So that's when we brought out this idea of a ZK VM. So where the program itself is an input. So you could write a program in high-level Rust. We chose Rust because it's currently the most popular and fastest-growing language, especially in cryptography. You write a program in Rust, and we execute it for you Now that opens a door for every developer in the world to become a ZK developer. So that's step one. Now the big question that followed that was like, okay, you guys made something very easy. So what did you lose? Did performance go down? A big component of zero knowledge cryptography is performance is usually the question, because you're doing verified computation. It's supposed to be slower, and it's like at that point of time it was like 100,000 times slower than regular computation. But the genius of our setup is building in a platform, on a stack, and that creates this modularity baked into how we do things. That allows multiple points of attack in improving performance and improving security and scalability and so on. So that's when we started improving the mathematics, the software layer, as well as the hardware layer. We're optimized for GPUs. And over a period of time, in 2 years or something, I think we've seen like 400x, 300x, that order of magnitude improvement, especially when we are workload specific. So when you say like, oh, what we want, 90% of the code is only going to do the same thing again and again, we can optimize for that. And then now we're actually at a point where we can do real-time proving of Ethereum as well. So we can prove the Ethereum block as it's being created, and before the next block actually shows up, which is an amazing progress. But that's the core of the technology. Web3, the way it functions is that you can't send everyone a DVD and say like, okay, that just ages me, I guess. But like, you can't ask them to run their whole cluster. What everybody wants, and this is customer feedback as well. We're a Seattle-based company, customer obsessed. We asked a bunch of customers, so how do you want your ZK delivered to you? Would you like a SaaS service? They said a SaaS service is great for playground, for us to build and like learn and like develop stuff, but we can't use it in production. EigenLayer was one of the strongest proponents for this. They said, no, it needs to be decentralized, permissionless from day one. We won't use anything that's like AWS. We're like, okay, so let's go back to the drawing board. And that's when we figured out what to build, and that was Boundless, which is a open protocol where think of oracles and Chainlink and how they bring oracles to every chain. We bring ZK to every chain. So if you are a developer on a chain, you use your smart contracts, you call another smart contract, ask for a proof of a program, give the inputs, offer to pay this much money, goes through a reverse Dutch auction. We find you the best prover. Proof lands on chain. You get notification. You just continue with your proof logic. So now you can have computation on chain inside a block that is worth like 2 billion gas, which is basically impossible to do. You can't do 30 blocks of computation, but now you can with co-processors and so on. So we completely unlock new paradigms, improving the security model. This is just, like I said, day one. We have grand plans of where ZK can go. ZK, in a lot of ways, and this is especially useful for all your viewers as well, is sometimes subsumed by the conversation around blockchain, which is fair because that's the number one application. But ZK is a security product which can be used in identity, privacy, security. It's also post-quantum. So there are a lot of applications here for ZK. So again, I'm super pumped. Also extremely caffeinated, but like it's a good day for us.
Well, cheers to you for that, sir. You guys just announced the Signal, which is your first live use case that brings Ethereum proofs to Base. So is this something that you need like the Base chain to adopt at that chain level, or can app developers onto Base use this regardless?
So actually any chain can use it. That's the fantastic thing. This is again like one of the things that I personally wanted to do was launch mainnet beta and not call it a testnet because we're accepting live funds. We don't want to like play naming wars here, which is like we're nearly there. So let's take the bold jump of calling it mainnet beta. Another thing is I wanted to show utility or product market fit, right? So I think from day one, we wanted to like talk about how are ZK proofs used? What is the utility of ZK proofs? So we wanted to do something that has never been done in the industry before, which is full consensus proof of Ethereum. So a term that a lot of your viewers might be more familiar with are light clients. Now, the way light clients work is they kind of sample nodes and say, okay, this seems to be the consensus among like 200, 250, 300 nodes. Fair enough. This is probably fine. This probably fine attestation is not necessarily enough for finance. That's a bit like saying I locked all the doors, the garage door is unlocked, but whatever, it doesn't really matter. What you want is full consensus because 200 nodes times 32 ETH is a certain level of security, but 1 million nodes times 32 ETH is a completely different order of magnitude of security, where it was always considered too hard to do, the proof size was too big, too expensive, and so on and so forth. Writing a client that can do this is complex work. No individual chain was ever going to do this. So we decided we'll do it as a public good. Running such large proofs was always going to be expensive. We wanted to run it on Boundless because of the subsidy effect of the token. That is something we also wanted to show. The price of the proofs went down, and the network got tested in doing such large proofs, and we are also creating a public good. So that's the other thing. So once you have these consensus proofs, you can use them anywhere. It's on Base, on Solana, anywhere. You have instant access to verified Ethereum consensus proof state from Ethereum. All the information on Ethereum now just like verified and available to you. What that actually does is solves the interop problem. Once you actually verify all the chains, and that is something we're aiming to do, Solana, Ethereum, Stellar, you name your favorite chain. Once all of them are proven and available to you, the concept of my assets are on this chain versus that chain goes away. It completely melts into one unified sort of like view. So if you're an app builder, all of a sudden you could be on Solana verifying something about Ethereum assets and build a better application. You could be on Avalanche doing something interesting. The apps could be anywhere, your assets could be anywhere, and you can use them in any way, shape, or form without having to spend large amounts of money or like more transactions or whatever. Right. So that creates this new world that we want to live in. The example that I actually gave to people is like, imagine if you're a US citizen and you have your money in Wells Fargo or your favorite credit union, and you go to France, and all of a sudden they say, oh, I'm sorry, I can't really accept anything here. You need to do a bunch of transactions before you can spend your money here. You'd be like, yeah, screw it, I'm not going to France. Right. So this nowadays you just go out, flip out your credit card, just work seamlessly. That's what everyone wants. There's no one player who could build it, and that was us. So we decided to build it. And the good thing is the community has responded by contributing over $300,000 in small donations to find the next chain to prove. And all of these chains have also come forward. All these apps and people who benefit from this public good have also come forward to like help support it. We hope to be running this forever. And possibly keep building on top of these of these infrastructure pieces as well, and maybe build more interesting things as well. It's a great way to show the power of ZK in action, because I know one of the big question marks around ZK is it ready? Yeah, I just want to answer that question with like a thing rather than come on like podcast and be like, oh, it's ready, its performance is there, here's some stats, here's my blog. You'll be, oh, cool, thanks, bye. I'd much rather show it in action, and that's what we want to do.
So do you have some partners lined up ready to use Signal today? Like if, as an end user listening to this, intrigued by ZK tech, like where can they go to experience it?
I mean, 100%. People are building on top of, we just launched the Signal. Once we actually go to mainnet, I think is when people will want to launch their applications on top. We have a bunch of builders already lined up to use the Signal proofs. Anybody in bridging, Wormhole, for example, or like a bunch of folks, they're all going to be coming for this. This allows them to level up their game and build a suite of products on top. Eigen as well. Eigen can use this so effectively. Their stake on ETH and use that stake somewhere else on another chain and just verify it, and it just works for them everywhere. That's going to be amazing and opens up another whole suite of opportunities for them to build on top. Of course, Eigen is even more interesting because once they make these things available, they have builders on top of their ecosystem that can utilize this as well. So we are really, really looking forward to these second order effects where like I'm not even going to know who's using it. And isn't that the dream, that like everybody's just using Web3 and they can't really figure out any difference between Web2 and Web3? So I'm really, really looking forward to that and seeing that in action over the next 3 to 6 months.
I know we got to let you go, but before you leave us, can you just give us a taste of what you think what's the weirdest application of this that Boundless unlocks?
Yeah, I mean, really the weirdest application, in my opinion, okay, so this is just, I'm not even sure if this is going to happen or not, is going to be Web2 players coming in and using Web3 data. Like we've always had this thing around like, oh, how do I get my Web2 data, ZKTLS and all that, and like get it on chain and do a bunch of stuff. Once you actually make data from blockchains available easily to Web2 players, I don't know why they wouldn't use it as well. So there might be a point where you go to buy a car or something, and let's say you're deeply invested in like, crypto, and they're just like, oh, let me just verify that you have everything. Okay, cool. You can here's your keys. I would really like that to happen, because these kind of things actually accelerate adoption, holding as well. Like one of the reasons why people sometimes can't hold on to assets is because they need to purchase, they need to use it in real world, and the off ramp doesn't exist in a meaningful way. You have to convert it into USDC or something else. This will like really solve those problems. So I'm really hoping I see something like that in action, where like the Mazda dealer next door from me is like, yeah, you can just like show me your, oh, you have ETH stuff. Yeah, I can verify that instantaneously, and this is great. It didn't cost me any money, and like here you go. I moved it as collateral using some new app that's come in, and you just buy your car and move on. Really looking forward to weird things like that in the wild.
So you're telling me fart coin backed mortgages are actually coming?
Yeah, but I heard it's a bubble, a very gassy bubble.
Gassy bubble. They're not shy about that. I love how you chose like Mazda as the car. It's very ETH coded for the last little while. Hopefully,
I love my MX-5. Nice to get out in Pacific Northwest and get the tail out a little bit. Yeah,
it's beautiful. I'm up here in Vancouver, so it's all right. We win for these 3 or 4 months of the year. Shiv, thanks so much for hanging out with us, man, and best of luck as you take this product to market.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Peace, man.
Bye.